Well, howdy, guys. It's Bryson with the Parker County Beef Company. We're back for our 5th episode of our Behind the Beef podcast. My dad, Shane, is here on the podcast with us today, and we are going to do our last episode of 2023. So we launched this podcast earlier in the year, made some pretty drastic changes, and now we're, I guess we're going to finish up our 5th episode here, see how it goes. So Shane, welcome back to the podcast.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. Last time you let us know about some of your things you grew up on the ranch, things you remembered, and then about your bees. But today we wanted to finish out 2023 with talking through some of the things that we learned in talking to our customers and some of the changes that we made here on the ranch.
We've learned a lot. We make a list of everything that we learn, and we're like, that would be something to talk about and express to others what we've been through and grew from.
Yeah, did you ever think a year ago that you'd be sitting here filming your 2nd episode of a podcast about selling beef nationwide?
No, that was something on the phone that Addison spent all of her time on. A waste of time, right?
Something like that. When we started this, we started in March. Doing our freezer beef, quarters, halves, and wholes. That's kind of the traditional beef selling process in our area. So we started that. We had a lot of success, a lot of customers early on who took us up on that. But we kept getting the feedback over and over and over again. Hey, is there a way for us just to buy what we are looking for? Is there a way for us to just build our own box, get a few cuts? We don't need a quarter necessarily or a half. We just want a couple pounds of ground beef, some steaks. So I think the first major change that we made in response to customer feedback was going to be when we did kind of the build your own box. So, and from our standpoint, that added a ton of complexity, I guess. And we had a lot of things that we didn't realize what all we didn't know.
When we went from just your basic boxes that we said you get what you get, I guess the hardest job that it changed or complex was Brian's job of putting the right stuff in them.
Yeah.
So instead of pulling his pre-printed list, he had to go off the pre-printed list and whatever they may add or put in their box, he had to be sure and catch that. And Brian's, you got to keep things simple for Brian. He'll never see this video, so.
Yeah, that's true. He'll never see the podcast. But we went from, we had 3 or 4 things, just do it over and over again, to now, it's inevitable that sometime throughout the shipping or the fulfillment process, we'll get somebody yelling across the room, hey, where are the tongues at? Or where are the livers at, right? So there's a level of complexity, and everybody's kind of working along here to get.
If you'll notice in the videos when we pack, Aaron is a catch-all. He does good on packing the actual box, getting it to fit in there, and he has caught Brian mistakes more than once.
Again, Brian won't see this podcast, so we're good. The next one, I guess I'm going to skip on my list one. I'll come back to number 2, but the second thing was, we started this locally. We started this here. We're out of Springtown, Texas. We're selling beef to people, generally within 30 minutes to an hour of where we are, but every time we posted a video, every time we did something, we got the request over and over again. Hey, can you guys ship? Will you ship? Do you ship to? And still on a lot of our videos, the first 3 or 4 comments are always, hey, can you ship to Kentucky or Florida or California? So we realized that while we need to serve our local community, there's also another community of people that may not be necessarily local to us, but that share a belief system or share a love for good beef. So we started shipping. And like I've said on the podcast before, hey guys, we're going to ship August the 8th. And then we kind of looked at each other and said, hey, does anybody know how we're going to do this? And I think the general consensus was a resounding no. So we just kind of went to work.
The funniest thing about that is forever you said, how many times did you say over and over, nationwide shipping? If you had to guess, how many?
Well, probably thousands for sure.
And it was at least 3 times a week somebody would say, hey, do you ship to Oklahoma?
I still respond to those comments every now and then, because in the video I'll say, hey, we ship everywhere except for Alaska and Hawaii every single Monday. And then, there's inevitably a comment, what about Colorado? Like, yep, that is one of the states that is not Alaska and Hawaii. But
I think that may point to a picture of, we have the videos and you explain them, but I think people in TikTok's algorithms or whatever, that may be the first video they see.
Yeah, that is true. I would agree with that.
So maybe that's something you have to repeat every 5 minutes.
Well, I think we're on about, and we've made so many videos now that we're currently, this is what, December 27th, so we're at the end of 2023, and I looked last night, since March 12th, when we made our first TikTok, we have made, if you include the ones I made yesterday that are already scheduled, we've made 840 TikToks. So we're just under 1,000 TikToks, and what you realize as you make that many videos is that it's new people seeing, especially on TikTok, there's new people seeing your videos over and over and over again. So one week I make a video that says, hey, this is who we are, this is how we do it, this is what we do. And then you could make that same video 2 to 3 days later, 2 to 3 weeks later, and it reaches 10,000 different people. So I guess that's part of the virality of TikTok. That's also one of the things that works to our advantage, the way that we treat content and media here at the ranch.
What video was it? What platform was it? You made the T-post that was being goofy and silly, and it only lasted 7 or 8 seconds. And
yeah, so
a month later,
I have an 8-second video on Facebook, of all places. And Facebook, you'll realize each platform has its own intricacies, but the Facebook platform, I used to think TikTok could be the meanest, and I think Facebook may win now. I made an 8-second video 2 months ago pretending like I did not know how to use a T-post driver and put a T-post into the ground. And I thought, this will be funny. Well, it just kind of sat there, 2,000 or 3,000 views, which is normal for one of our funny videos. And then starting about 10 days ago, it's done 1 million or 2 million views in about a week. And all of the mean people came out of the woodworks and started letting us know how I can't call myself a rancher. I don't even deserve to wear blue jeans, which is a new one to me. And then, of course, the stuff that you can't believe people type on the internet, actually spend the time to type it out and hit post. So that's really fun. But you do learn that even bad advertisement is advertisement. Yeah, there's no real way for me to track it, but I always wonder, how many of those videos that the majority or a vast portion of the comments were unnecessary or rude or whatever you want to call it, mean comments, how many true customers, people found out about us. They're like, well, what's a beef company doing making a funny video about putting a T-post in? So we try not to be salesy. We try not to be, hey, buy our ribeyes. They're 1-inch thick ribeyes. They're good ribeyes. Because if I just made those videos all day, I think that would reach maybe 25 people and everyone else would block us, because I would get tired of seeing that. So we have a pretty good mix. We try to mix in our content. We've got like 5 or 6 categories that we do. Try to tell people who we are, what we do, how we do it. And I guess and then we have a third one of like our actual products, or a fourth one of our actual products, where we actually show people what we do. But I try to keep that at 25 to 30% of what we do. And the rest is all getting to know us, getting to know the ranch, getting to know how we do things. So,
yeah, 2 points on that. So the mean comments,
yeah.
When other people see them, everybody knows they're mean, and they just overlook it. And 2, you've spread it out enough that obviously it's done a good job of reaching people that like our beef.
Yeah, so there was a suggestion, I believe it was my wife that did the suggestion, that to end 2023, I should do my YouTube video, and my long, like kind of end of the year video should be, they'd make celebrities read those mean tweets. Jimmy Kimmel does a segment where he does celebrities read mean tweets. It was suggested that I do Beef Company reads mean comments, but Unfortunately, so many of them would have to be so redacted because of the things people put on the internet that it would be unfortunate.
We just won't give them the time. That'd be fine. They had their 5 seconds of fame.
So then we get into our next change that we kind of enacted here based on feedback from our customers. And, you know, obviously we have the online presence. You guys see our videos everywhere and you see what we do, how we do it. But we get customers who, you know, they need 3 or 4 pounds of ground beef tonight, or I need some ribeyes to cook this weekend. So we really wanted to expand the next logistics or delivery option we wanted. We wanted to have a walk-in presence where people could walk in, get as much or as little as they need, and shop our beef in person, essentially replacing what they would originally get at the grocery store. And I think we've done a good job of that, Shane. Would you say I've been personally blown away at the amount of people and the amount of interactions we get with customers coming here to our office in Springtown to shop our beef?
In the beginning, we had a lot of friends and family that we knew around, like, hey, I want this. I'd like to buy some steaks or a roast. And that was expected, right? But for instance, the other day, we're here and we had a lady that came in and drove for almost an hour and a half to buy some. Her family had bought some originally at a pop-up and really liked it. And she had nothing but great reviews for the steaks and beef that she bought, and was willing to drive an hour and a half to Springtown to pick it up here. So when I saw that, and after talking to her, that makes you feel like what you're doing up there in the front office is right.
Yeah, it makes it feel like it matters. And you mentioned it there, but the other thing I have with that retail setup is our pop-ups. That was kind of a wild hair idea of, hey, we have this mobile freezer trailer. We can take our product completely frozen. Let's get a tent. Let's go set it up. Let's do a pop-up. And I mean, we get people that come in our office. We get people that go online, emails. Pop-ups are a huge part of how we get beef in people's hands and get out into the community to build customers. And, you know, like I said in the video, it's great for sales. It's great for us as a company, but more so than that, we get incredible feedback. We get to have really cool conversations with people at pop-ups, and we live stream the thing too. So that makes it easy to get videos out of it, I guess. All right, Shane, the last thing that we got feedback from on our customers are steaks, right? So we've had to learn to listen when a customer says something. So the only feedback that we had, the constructive criticism, if you will, on our products would be our steaks. So on our New York strips and our ribeyes originally, we took guidance from some people who helped us get started, and we're trying to just hit the bell curve of serving as many people as possible, which is difficult, right? Because I'm sure Shane and I don't even prefer the same size, thickness, cut, or preparation of a steak. But what we're trying to do when we develop a product and when we put specs on a product is we are trying to...
You're going to hear some extra noise.
There are some extracurriculars going on outside of our studio.
We're going to blame
here.
it on Brian again. It'll be fine.
We did ask for a 20-minute silence, and we're at 14 minutes. So I'm impressed that we got that long. So Shane and I probably don't like our steaks the same way, and we're trying to develop a product, put specs out for a product that reaches as many people as possible. But the feedback that we got from a few key customers were that they wished that our steaks were a little bit thicker, right? We were running 3/4 inch ribeyes. We were running 3/4 inch New York strips. And what that was giving us was anywhere from a 9 to 12 ounce New York strip and a 12 to 16 ounce ribeye, obviously depending on the diameter. But we listened, and starting 2024, we have our New York strips and our ribeyes are both 1 inch thick. So you're going to get that, in most cases, above restaurant quality steak. And our ribeyes are also going to be bone in. So for our customers who've been asking for that thicker bone in ribeye, you're going to get a true cowboy cut ribeye. They're running I don't know, 17 to 22 ounces, and the New York strips are running 14-ish, 16-ish ounces. So I think the customers are really going to enjoy that. It's a great quality steak. It's honestly better than you're going to get at your steakhouse type cuts. But yeah, we heard the customers, we listened, and we try to make changes when we can.
Maybe they could comment here. Let us know, what's the ribeye weight now? 17 to 22?
Yeah, the last batch that I weighed last week was about 20 ounces on average.
So when you order that, do we split that? I know when my wife and I go and order a steak, I think we really split a 12 ounce now.
Yeah.
I wonder what the use.
I wouldn't ask my wife, because if you guys have seen our videos, we do a partnership with the Corn Fed Club here in Springtown, where we have our 40-ounce tomahawks. So those can be about 2 to 2.5 inch thick tomahawks. And we went there, obviously we had to go so I could try it out for market research. And my wife will tell you, she would never get in front of a camera and film this, but my wife would tell you that I ate the entire thing. I ate all but 4 or 5 ounces. So
she got 2 bites.
I'm not splitting the ribeye, regardless of the size. But
so let us know on that. What's the use on that? I do have a question. The only thing we haven't changed is our sirloin thickness. Sirloins are at 3/4 now.
Yep.
And what's their end weight?
14 on the low end, 17, 18 on the high end. Just depends on where they're cutting it out of the sirloin.
What do most people will people take a 1-inch sirloin, or is that too much?
Yeah, the problem with the sirloin is you're not cutting a set diameter thing. It's kind of like your fillets. So you're going to get some shapes that if you cut it thicker, you're going to end up with way bigger. And if you cut it thinner in some areas, you're going to end up with way smaller. I think a lot of people use sirloins as a pretty flexible cut. Obviously, you can cook it as a steak, but your stir fry, you're cutting into strips, stew meat, that kind of stuff. Sirloin is often seen as kind of the utility player of the steak world. So, yeah, we can see. You guys let us know how you like your sirloins, and maybe we'll do a podcast episode on that.
There you go. Okay, so before we end, I've got a guy. Usually, we'll get comments, and they'll be constructive. But I have a behind the scenes commenter. You have any of those?
Yeah, I do.
So he always send out anything from the notch that my belt's on, or the fact that my shirt was tucked or not tucked. Some stuff about maybe I'm out of shape, but he has offered to cook our, what's the tailbone?
Oxtails.
Oxtails. He's interested in oxtails. So in between his mean comments, he does express interest in oxtails. So if he actually sees this, his initials, can I give his initials?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. I mean, I'll put his name on here. I'm not.
Well, Rick. It's Rick. Everybody knows who Rick is. So Rick, if you give the code word, what's the code word he can pass on?
Oxtail.
Oxtail. We'll see if we can get you some oxtails that you can grill for us, and then let us know how they turn out. From me, my brother, and Bryson, we really want to thank you for supporting us through this year, starting back in March when we had an idea and carried it through August when the work began that y'all got to see. We thank you for your support and believing in us and getting us to the end of the year, which I have to say that we're impressed with and humbled with. So from our family to each and every one of y'all, thank you.